Justin Herbert. And that might have just wrapped it up for the Chargers here in Brazil.
Wow, the Chiefs are falling apart right before our very eyes. Justin Herbert has become Superman now that he's piping pop star Madison Beer. Patrick Mahomes is in store for a season of pain due to a slew of injuries. And somehow, Quentin Johnston is the best wide receiver in the NFL? What the hell? Let's break down this beautiful AFC West matchup between the Chargers and the Chiefs. It's always so sweet when the Chiefs, one of the top dogs in the NFL, finally come crashing down, and it's even better when all the TV pundits and analysts pick the Chiefs to win. Full stop. Pretty much everybody thought they were going to win this game. Justin Herbert was looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL, and you have to wonder, is it due to the fact that he's now dating pop star Madison Beer? I love these freaking mashups people are creating.
I'm that nigga.
This past offseason, Justin Herbert and Madison Beer were spotted in public. People now know they are dating, and could this be the secret to success for the Chargers season? All I know is that Taylor Swift now has some serious competition, and you got the NFL world and tons of people who really dislike the Kansas City Chiefs laughing it up, saying that Madison Beer perhaps greater than Taylor Swift. This game between the Chiefs and Chargers was in Brazil, and it was broadcasted by YouTube, the first ever NFL game on YouTube. And of course, that came with some very cringy YouTuber skits. Instead of breaking down football, they did all these skits with YouTubers that I'm sure most of us guys who are in our 40s and 30s don't even know who these people are outside Mr. Beast. And they brought in Marianne, the infamous Chargers fan from a few years ago. She was spotted during a game a few years ago, was being overly theatrical, trying to clearly get on camera, and obviously she went absolutely viral. And people wonder, is this lady like a plant? Is she a plant of a Chargers fan? Because the NFL did their research and discovered that might not be a real Chargers fan, might be a fake Chargers fan, since previously she was a Minnesota Vikings fan and then recently moved to Los Angeles. Either way, I still feel bad for some Chargers fans because there are real Chargers fans out there, but this is the best that YouTube could find for this broadcast. One of the few bright spots in the pregame broadcast was when Derek Carr actually broke down some film, actually talked football outside of doing a freaking YouTube skit. And who better to get NFL fans ready for this game than the former AFC West Raiders quarterback himself, Derek Carr.
Is these defensive linemen aren't coming to pull your flag. They're not going to Gruden. There goes Gruden. I can't help myself.
Whenever he's breaking down a film, obviously Gruden's in his mind. The Chiefs were hit with some devastating news in the beginning of this game. Not only are they dealing with the suspension of wide receiver Rashee Rice, but now Xavier Worthy, the former first-round pick, this speedy guy who's supposed to stretch the field, he only played 3 snaps in this game due to an injury. At the very beginning, boneheaded Travis Kelce, you could see him right here on the right side of the screen, runs into Xavier Worthy, and many believe he dislocated his shoulder. Ooh, wow. That is freaking rough. You can see it close up here. Bam! That is not good for Xavier Worthy, and it's part of the reason why the Chiefs struggled on offense during this game. Travis Kelce, now that he's a superstar, engaged to Taylor Swift, this guy's on his last year of his career probably, and he's kind of becoming more of a liability. Not only is he injuring players, but he's kind of, I think, annoying some of these other Chiefs players on the team. You saw him yelling at the offensive lineman, getting in his face here. And if I'm another Chiefs player and I see Travis Kelce making mistakes himself, not being an impact player on the field, he had one big catch because it was a busted coverage. You got lucky there, but outside of that, he didn't do squat. And that is why I believe some Chiefs players were probably happy to see Tart, the defensive tackle of the LA Chargers, smack Travis Kelce in the face right here and did not draw an ejection. Many people were surprised he didn't get an ejection, but at least he wasn't spitting like Jalen Carter. And Tart even boasted about slapping Travis Kelce on his Instagram story after the game, playing a famous Rick James skit by the Dave Chappelle Show.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face? What? Slap!
Due to the injuries and poor execution by the Chiefs in the first half of this game, you saw the Chargers defense straight up handle Patrick Mahomes and this offense. And I want to give a shout out especially to linebacker Dayon Henley. He did a beautiful QB spy, seeing Mahomes trying to scramble, and man, he just freaking laid a smack down on Mahomes right here, shove him into the ground. Man, this guy is freaking badass. We're going to talk about the Chargers offense in a little bit, which was amazing, but I will say the Chiefs offense's problems weren't due to Patrick Mahomes. This guy was carrying the Chiefs offense. Nobody was giving him a break. Nobody was helping him out. No receiver was helping him out. No lineman was helping him out. They were drawing tons of penalties, and Mahomes was making these amazing Mahomes plays that just make you scratch your head and say, wow, how is this freaking possible that he's able to do a throw like this and it ends into a great completion to Juju Smith-Schuster? Well, this was absolutely beautiful, and I was shocked to see him pull this off. Mahomes was the only reason why the Chiefs offense even had a shot in this game. And I'm saying this as somebody who's obviously a Mahomes hater as a Raiders fan, but you had to admit the guy looked great. But I did not like some of the things he was doing here. You got people commenting on the fact that Mahomes passively trots towards the sideline and then pulls a ball carrier move at the last minute. It should be treated like a fake slide. This was kind of BS right here. He's running, headed to the sideline. These defenders know that if they hit Mahomes in this moment, they're going to draw a flag, 15-yard penalty. It's going to screw the defense over, critical third down here. And Mahomes knows that he has the leverage here, and instead of just going out of bounds, lays a freaking shoulder on the defensive back. Looks badass, but I thought that was a cheap shot. I thought that was lame as hell, because if the defender, like I said earlier, would have cracked him, it would have been a penalty, and I think somebody is going to make him pay. Jalen Carter faced a lot of criticism from NFL fans from spitting. I wonder, when the Chiefs play the Eagles next week, could Jalen Carter lay some wood on Mahomes and get NFL fans back on his side? One of the bright spots for the Chiefs outside of Mahomes was Harrison Butker, the kicker, pulling off this 59-yard field goal. No timeouts. The Chiefs were prepared and rushed to the field after a failed first down conversion, and you see Butker line up, only 4 seconds left, no time to prepare, and just boom, kick a massive field goal. You got to give the dude tons of props for that. But of course, Butker followed it up with a missed extra point, which was critical in this game. And you had the broadcast Rich Eisen make a joke about Butker being more traditionally conservative, saying that he's wide right.
Harrison Butker, interestingly enough, is wide right.
After that performance by the Chiefs, I think tons of women broke the glass ceiling last night. Now, turning our attention to the Chargers, everybody thought they were going to be a run-first football team. They got Amarian Hampton in the first round, but they were airing it out. Justin Herbert had an amazing game, and Ladd McConkey, their best wide receiver, got a couple catches, but not many big plays besides this one. Check out this fumble here, and look at this high IQ play. Conklin, the tight end, fumbles the football, and then Ladd McConkey is ready, making this play, knocking this out of bounds so you don't have a turnover there. That was a underrated play in this game, so significant. And one of the things that a lot of people aren't going to pay attention to, but just shows how great of a football player McConkey is. And of course, just like the Super Bowl where the Chiefs got absolutely blown out by the Philadelphia Eagles, you have the Chiefs now turning on each other. There is some discord here. Final play of the game, Justin Herbert able to scramble on the outside because Chris Jones at defensive end didn't have containment, instead rushed inside, and many people thought that was a key play in the game and part of the reason why the Chiefs had no shot to come back at the very end. And now you got Drew Tranquill, the linebacker, arguing with Chris Jones here. Got very nasty. You see them just shouting at the end of the game. You got Tranquill telling Chris Jones to do his job, and Chris Jones was not happy about that. So I'm wondering, is this going to continue to spill over? They don't have an easy matchup at all whatsoever against the freaking Super Bowl champ Philadelphia Eagles next week. By the way, they got to fly all the way back home from Brazil. Long ass flight. I believe it's over 11 hours. And you got a lot of people wondering and wishing, is this now the downfall of the Kansas City Chiefs? You could tell this really pissed off Chris Jones. He was asked about the exchange at the end of the game. Dude looks heated.
Camera shows you and Drew on the sideline being emotional after that third down. Can you take us through that sequence?
No comment.
Ooh, that does not look like a happy Chiefs defense. This was probably my favorite story in this game outside of Justin Herbert. Quentin Johnson, man. I'm sure everybody in fantasy football drafted him high and started him in their lineups this week. Yeah, right. The guy had a bad case of the drops last year. Many people thought he would struggle to even be a part of the starting lineup, especially now that the Chargers have players like Keenan Allen, drafted wide receiver in the second round. But this guy redeeming himself, battling back through all the adversity, and was really one of the key targets for Justin Herbert when he wanted to go deep. Quentin Johnson, man, making serious plays, and you have to wonder, is this going to spill over to the rest of the season? Is this guy now going to be a great comeback story and be a serious target for Justin Herbert for the rest of the season? And you have the fantasy football experts talking about it already. Time to put in those waiver claims. 24.9 fantasy points, almost 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wow. And that's against a tough Kansas City Chiefs defense. And you have to wonder, is it all Caleb Williams' fault why we thought that Keenan Allen was washed last year when Keenan was on the Chicago Bears? He returns home, signed with the LA Chargers during training camp, and he has some chemistry with Justin Herbert. We know the guy's slower. We know he's in his 30s, probably going to retire soon, but he was a serious red zone threat in this game and a good security blanket for Justin Herbert throughout the game, able to get a freaking touchdown in his return to the Chargers. And Keenan Allen is only rostered in 10% of fantasy leagues. This guy is a free agent, and he had 7 catches in this game. Isn't that just a great story for the older veteran wide receiver? And as a Raiders fan, I have to think Amari Cooper, now that he's suddenly retired, this could have been you, bro. We cannot make this YouTube video without talking about the man of the night, Justin Herbert, laying a freaking clinic against this Chiefs defense, 318 yards. Remember, last season in the first half, he really struggled to crack even 200 plus yards. The Chargers were a run-first team, and in this game, they decided to air it out and go all in their franchise quarterback, Justin Herbert. Could Jim Harbaugh help steer Justin Herbert on this path to being an elite quarterback? I think he's always been elite. I think the supporting cast around him hasn't been great. I think he hasn't had a good head coach, obviously, at the level of Jim Harbaugh. Previously, he had Anthony Lynn and, of course, Brandon Staley. And I know that his wide receiver core is better this year than last year, but I'd say it's not significantly better. It's not something like Joe Burrow having 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL as part of his supporting cast. Justin Herbert was able to do this against one of the best defenses in the NFL with an old vet wide receiver, an unproven guy, and another receiver in Ladd McConkey, who's great, but only in year 2 of his NFL career. And look at this passing chart. He really just spread it out everywhere, all across the field. And it makes you wonder what's going to happen in the future, what's going to happen against the Raiders next week, my team in Monday Night Football. And I think it was even better to see Herbert close out the game himself, a 3rd and long. You think the Chiefs are going to get the ball back. And of course, Chris Jones makes that mistake, but it was Herbert, man, with that incredible effort, closing out the game his freaking self. But I'm more curious about what the hell is going to happen to Patrick Mahomes, man. We have seen this guy drop off significantly since 2022. Ever since they got rid of Tyreek Hill, he really hasn't been airing it out that much. Now, I think Xavier Worthy was supposed to be the remedy for that. But even last year in 2024, 33rd of 34 QBs in terms of 20 plus yards downfield. Now they're including 2023 in that. 5 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, a 44 QB rating. That is not good. We just see Mahomes unable to air it out like he used to when he came on the scene and started dominating in Kansas City. He's got a great record since losing Tyreek Hill, 39 wins, 10 losses in 3 seasons since Tyreek Hill was traded to the Miami Dolphins. But in that time, only Daniel Jones has averaged fewer air yards per attempt. So Mahomes is having to be a check down Charlie ever since Tyreek left. Xavier Worthy, we mentioned, dislocated his shoulder, many believe. We don't know exactly the timeline of return, but it looks like the dude's going to be out at least 6 weeks, possibly on IR, depending on how bad it is. And I would not be surprised if Tyreek Hill finds a way to return home. A lot of people think that Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Dolphins, is on the hot seat. We know Tyreek has not been getting along with the Miami Dolphins. He expressed a desire to be traded at the end of last season, and the vibes have just been awkward. He's not even a captain on the team, even though he's one of their highest paid players and arguably one of their better players. Could the Chiefs make an offer the Dolphins ownership cannot refuse and trade for Tyreek Hill at least some point after the Dolphins lose a few games? I could definitely see it happening. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who is going to be on top in the AFC West? Are the Chiefs finally crashing down?